Welcome back to Driva, our digital series where we ask how investments can promote a climate-robust future. Today we have invited Trude Sundset to talk about carbon capture and storage. Trude is here to tell us more about the business cases and innovation that happens. I will pass it over to you, Trude.
Hello everyone. I'm the head of Gassnova and we have the responsibility for coordinating the full-scale CO2 capture and storage project in Norway on behalf of the Norwegian government. In the following, I will use the acronym CCS when I talk about CO2 capture and storage. The sentiment towards CCS, both at home and abroad, has become increasingly positive during the last year. And this sentiment has evolved as it has become increasingly evident what it will really take to meet the zero-emission goals set by country after country and industry after industry. It will take a lot from all of us. During the past year or so, people all across Europe have made it their business to take to the streets and literally scream for politicians to ensure that we act upon the Paris Agreement. Industrial partnership agreements have been signed, proving that businesses really mean business when it comes to reducing their carbon footprint. And the EU's Green Deal promises to be more than an ambitious manifest. It is an action plan. Nation after nation has pledged to deliver on its net zero emission goals. Industry after industry have committed to a green transformation. And company after company have presented bold targets that they are certain to be measured on, Equinor being one of the most recent examples. Less than a year ago, leaders of every single political youth organization in Norway stood up together with the Confederation of Norwegian Enterprise and LO Norway, the labor union, to express their support for industrial CCS. It is one of the first times ever that all political youth parties in this country make such a unified move. Debates about CCS, CCUS and hydrogen produced from natural gas have generated a new wave of optimism. But then the world got hit by a virus that no one had heard about before. As if a contagious pandemic weren't enough, the oil price dropped like a stone. Following the pandemic outbreak, the Norwegian government has launched several emergency aid packages to stimulate industry, to compensate businesses for revenue loss, and to accelerate job-generating projects, and to help people suspended or laid off from their jobs. And suddenly, voice after voice pointed to full-scale CCS as a counter-cyclical project, part of the solution to generate jobs, stimulate innovation, and keep the wheels turning in the Norwegian society. In addition, of course, to being an important climate initiative and catalyst for industrial transformation. Until the COVID-19 pandemic, it was likely that the government would make an investment decision regarding full-scale CCS this year. And recently the government has confirmed that the investment decision will be made this fall in connection with the state budget for 2021. Gassnova, together with our industry partners, have delivered solid documentation about the two CCS projects to the Norwegian Ministry of Energy and Petroleum. And the documentation will provide the basis for the government's investment proposal. The two capture projects we're working on is Fortum Oslo Varme waste-to-energy plant in Oslo and the Heidelberg Norcem cement factory in Brevik. And following a 5-year process at both these facilities, all the necessary groundwork has been done, and both these projects are prepared to start up building the CCS plants as soon as the financing is in place. We do not know whether the government will recommend investment in one or two of these projects, but with the support from the Parliament expressed just a few weeks ago, we feel quite certain that there will be at least one. This full-scale CCS project takes place in Norway, but the Norwegian project is in many ways a European project. The full-scale project also includes the Northern Lights Consortium, where we have Equinor, Shell and Total as partners, and they are planning to build an open access infrastructure for transport and storage of CO2. So full-scale CCS is about the entire value chain from capture through transport and then eventually geologic storage of CO2. And the storage facility in the North Sea will have room for CO2 from all over Europe. And as such, it represents an opportunity for companies and industries looking for ways to meet imposed or self-imposed emission reduction targets. And in preparing for this full-scale CCS project, we have continuously shared key learnings with other CCS projects globally, and as well as with research and educational institutions, industrial players, and authorities. Sharing knowledge is a very important part of this full-scale CCS project. As expected, cost concerns are high on everyone's agenda, in business as well as in government. And particularly costs related to CCS and CCUS as compared with other climate initiatives. And what we see on this slide is how we foresee the cost development of CCS from an investor perspective, and also how the environmental authorities see this development. And we in Gassnova will continue to have focus on reducing the costs of this technology through our research program CLIMIT, and also through the tests that we perform at the Technology Center at Mongstad. Continued research and development of new and improved technologies will be a critical success factor in order to drive down the costs of CCS and to see the development we need globally. And we need to cooperate on a global basis in order to succeed, and to share knowledge is really key to reduce emissions and to meet climate targets everywhere. A word of caution though, the combined effects of the corona crisis and oil price decline, especially for the Norwegian economy, could impact ambitions and plans in ways that we have not foreseen and we could not foresee just a few weeks ago. We're seeing signs of a new political divide, at least in this country, between those who believe that we should use this situation to accelerate the green transformation of industry, and those arguing that now is the time to put costly climate initiatives on hold in order to prioritize immediately life support to Norwegian businesses. But once again, CCS may actually represent a unifying solution. During the last year, pre-corona, we saw signs of CCS uniting a Europe divided over climate issues. Now, at least in Norway, we see signs of both politicians and industry leaders pointing to full-scale CCS as a project that combines industry transformation with needed job and value creation. With the economic downturn in the oil and gas industry, jobs in the new CCS industry will become increasingly attractive. Now we'll have the opportunity to use the people and skills developed in the petroleum sector in new ways. And the building of these two planned full-scale CCS facilities will require an estimated of 4,000 employees. The plan is to capture in total 800,000 tons of CO2 annually from the Norcem cement factory and the Fortum waste incinerator plant in Oslo. This captured CO2 will be shipped to an intermediate storage on the west coast of Norway, transported through a pipeline and injected into a geologic formation 3,000 meters below the sea floor. Norway has performed CO2 storage for decades, starting with the Sleipner gas field in the North Sea. And we know therefore that we can do this. We know it works. It's a good and a safe solution. And we believe our track record on this is at least one likely explanation for the fact that more than 60% of Norwegians believe to a large or very large degree that Norway should invest in technology that contributes to capturing CO2 from industry and storing it offshore. This year was kicked off by Prime Minister Erna Solberg's New Year's speech, which focused almost exclusively on sustainability and the UN sustainability goals. And a few days later, Equinor and the Norwegian petroleum industry committed to producing oil and gas with near zero emissions by 2050. Carbon capture and hydrogen production will be critical success factors. In the current situation, it is important that we can demonstrate and document positive effects of the full-scale CCS on both climate, cost, innovation, job and value creation. We have a big job to do.
Thank you, Trude, for your insights into carbon capture and storage. Trude is now available in the comment section to answer your questions, so please keep them coming. Be sure to tune in next Tuesday to hear more about climate risk from Lars-Erik Mangset at KLP. KLP is Norway's largest pension company, and they have done some exciting work on climate risk. Thank you for following us, and see you next week.